Hello, friends. Welcome to City of Glass walkthrough, plot, summary. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to title this, but we will be finally walking through City of Glass by Cassandra Clare. I have been meaning to film this video for upwards of a month. But as you can see, we have a new background. I moved. I just moved in with my boyfriend, and we're now in our new apartment. Enough with the life updates. Let's get into City of Glass. Where we start, Clary is going to join Jace and the Lightwood family in going to Alicante to find this warlock who is the only person who knows how to undo this trance that her mom put herself under to keep from being interrogated by Valentine. We are in Simon's point of view in the first couple of chapters, and Jace has asked him to meet outside of the institute. So Simon goes and meets Jace, and he sees that they're all in their fighting gear, and that Magnus, another warlock, is there opening up a portal. And he's like, hey, what's going on? Isn't Claire supposed to be going with you guys? This is where Jace asks Simon, Clary's best friend, to lie to her, because Jace does not want Claire to go to Alicante and possibly also become corrupt and taken advantage of by, I want to say it's the Covenant, but that's a Halo reference. That is not. I couldn't tell you what they call them. But basically, Jace is asking Simon to lie to Clary and not tell them that they're leaving right now, because Clary thinks they're leaving later tonight. So they have this back and forth of why would you want me to lie to her? I thought you cared for her. Basically, they both like Clary, and it's weird, and Jace is trying to protect her, but in the stupidest way of rather than just communicating with her, which we'll see is a theme in their relationship. It very much so reminds me of kind of like Stefan meets Damon, like them two together with Elena. Like the miscommunication is horrible. So as Simon and Jace are talking, they start hearing screaming and look over to see a bunch of Forsaken, which are humans or other downworlders is what they call them, that have had the symbols, the marks, I'm also forgetting what they're called, put on them, because Shadowhunters are the other ones that can wear them and be fine. So if you are not a Shadowhunter and you get these marks, you are turned into a Forsaken. So one person has died. Everybody else is rushing through the portal to get away. Jace tells Simon to leave. Simon ends up tripping over the dead lady's body, ends up almost getting attacked. Jace then drags him through the portal into Alicante, taking a hard view shift to Clary. Now, we are in Clary's point of view. And she is with Luke. They're circling around the Institute. She's jittery, she's excited, she's going to Alicante for the first time. And they get to the Institute, and nobody's there. Who do they run into? Magnus. And Magnus tells them everything that went down. She gets super upset because Jace lied to her. Everybody lied to her. How dare they? They always leave her out. And Luke and Magnus are telling her, like, it's too late, girl. It is what it is. You gotta deal with it. And Clary does not want to take no for an answer. So she ends up creating her own portal. So she basically created a rune or used a rune, I'm not sure which one, to create a portal and goes through it. And here we get Luke calling after her, "Clary, stop. The wards are dangerous. You'll get yourself killed." She steps through it. She's saying, "I have to go," she cried, moving forward, her fingertips outstretched. "Luke, I'm sorry." Clary caught a last glimpse of the cars and buildings of Manhattan spinning away from her, vanishing as a whiplash-hard current of wind caught her, sending her hurtling, her wrists still in Luke's iron grip. Did Luke go through the portal with her? We don't know, because we wake up as Simon. Again, I mentioned Simon is in Alicante. He doesn't know what's going on. He's a brand new vampire. So then we flash again to Clary, and she wakes up in a river of sorts, or a lake. I think it's a lake. She's drowning, basically, is how I'm gonna put it. She's drowning, and Luke, in a half werewolf, half man form, pulls her out of the lake and starts, kind of patting her pretty hard to get the water out. And she ends up losing her stele, her mom's stele, which is way to go. You're doing all this for your mom just to lose her stele. Also, the one thing that I arguably say you would need as a shadow hunter, but I digress. Turns out they are in Lake Lynn, which is right outside of Alicante. And Clary's like, "What happened? I envisioned Alicante. Why didn't we go straight to Alicante?" It's because of the wards that are there to, keep people out, keep vampires out, keep downworlders and such out. Now, back to the water. Back to Lake Lynn. About maybe 20 minutes into their walk, decides that he should tell Clary something, which I think he should have told her a while back. He decides to drop the bomb that Lake Lynn is cursed. The water of the lake is in some way poisonous to shadow hunters. It won't hurt downworlders. Why can't I say that word? The fair folk call it the Mirror of Dreams. They drink its water because they claim it gives them true visions. But for shadow hunters to drink the water is very dangerous. It causes hallucination, fever. It can drive a person to madness. As she's having these hallucinations, these delusions of grandeur, so Luke sneaks them into the city of Alicante. They finally make it. It's nighttime. And he goes to this person's house that he hasn't seen in 10 years, I think it was, and he hopes that they're still there. So he begs for her help to help with Clary, and she won't help until Luke says that this is Jocelyn's daughter. So that gives me something of either she knows how Luke feels about Jocelyn, she was good friends with Jocelyn herself, or she knows something about Clary. Clary's getting a little loopy, and he's looking at her, and she says, "Your eyes are the same." Luke blinked. "The same as what?" "As hers. The same blue." A ghost of a smile passed over Luke's face. "Well, it's not that surprising, considering I didn't get a chance to introduce you properly before. Clary, this is Amethyst Herondale, my sister." Flash again to Simon. We're kind of really just bouncing between Simon and Clary in this book. Alec has returned from the guard and has been asked to bring the vampire, the Daylighter, to the new Inquisitor. So Alec brings Simon to the guard. They almost immediately take Simon and they're like, "Okay, Alec, you're good. You can leave." And so he does. And they take Simon back and they're like, "All right, we're going to bring you through this portal to get you back to New York. Magnus Bane is waiting on the other side. We just have a few questions we want to ask you." Simon's game. He's like, "Well, ask me whatever." So they start asking about how long he's been a vampire. "Do you know it was who turned you?" He's like, "No, I don't really know." He explains the whole rat situation. And the Inquisitor is not happy by that because, in his words, "But you just walked out of there and, well, gave yourself up to the vampires, you see. It looks a bit as if you wanted to be one." "I didn't want to be one. That's not why I went to the hotel." Before Simon could say a word in reply, the door burst open, and shadow hunters in black gear poured into the room, seizing hold of him. Yeah, the Inquisitor just fully lied to everybody and is taking Simon prisoner. Continuing with Simon and the Inquisitor, he gets pulled out for some more questioning, and we can quickly come to see that the Inquisitor is trying to frame Jace and the Lightwoods and Simon for everything. For the previous Inquisitor's death, for everything to do with Valentine. They are trying to spin this narrative just to finish the Clave meeting that's happening, get it over with, have someone to blame, and be done. So Simon's not liking that, and he is just not doing what the Inquisitor wants him to, which then leads the Inquisitor to obviously throw him back in the dungeon. So that's kind of where that, I don't want to say ends, but that's where that leaves off for now. Back to Clary's point of view, she's no longer hallucinating. It's the next morning. She's been healed, and she wakes up in this room. She doesn't really know where she's at. She doesn't really remember if last night was a dream. But she goes downstairs. She sees Amatis, asks where Luke is at, and is just told he's doing. She tells him he's off doing pack business and not to worry about it and to just rest up. Well, Clary doesn't want to do that. So she starts digging through some clothes that Amatis left her and ends up finding Amatis's old fighting leathers, fighting gear, whatever. Puts them on, jumps out the window, and goes to find Jace and the Lightwoods and everybody. She ends up finding the house. She knocks on the door. Clary smiled weakly. Hi, Isabel. Clary leaned against the door jamb, her expression dismal. Oh, crap. So, you could say she's not really happy to see Clary, and kind of nobody is. Isabel attempts to keep her from entering the house and just tells her to go back home, and she busts through the door, busts past Isabel, and goes to run up the stairs. And Sebastian, I don't know if it was one of their cousins or someone's cousin, whatever. Sebastian, he stops for a minute when Clary runs up to him, and they look a little confused. They look. It's almost this moment of recognition, even though they've never met before. It's just this like, I think I know you, but I don't know from where. Simon ends up just letting her go upstairs to see Jace, because he's like, she's his sister. Wouldn't he want to see her? Little do they know. So Clary ends up finding the room that Jace is in, opens the door, and finds him and this dark-haired girl locked together in a passionate embrace. That girl is Aline. Clary basically gets really dizzy and really jealous and gets mad at Jace, one, for leaving her stranded in New York, and two, for being in an intimate embrace with this girl. But they have to play it off because they're brother and sister, and nobody knows that they are in love with each other. So they kind of have to play it off, and she's like, yeah, I'm his sister. Hi, nice to meet you. And then she leaves the room, and Jace and Clary start arguing with one another. Jace kind of goes off the rails. He starts yelling at Clary, he starts yelling at Isabel, he starts yelling at Alec, and basically just, like, tells Clary that she messes everything up, and that if she would have just listened, they wouldn't be in this situation, and everything's better without her. And then he kind of says the same stuff to Alec. Like, he confronts Alec about liking him but never going for it, and becomes a real douche. And then he punches a window, and his hand is bleeding, but he doesn't heal it. He says he's going to heal the mortal way to learn a lesson. Very toxic. Very toxic. So now we are at the point where Alec has figured out that Simon has not really gone back to New York and that the Inquisitor lied. And Jace, in his self-destructive moment, says that he is going to go to the prison. And Jace goes to break Simon out of prison, and Simon ends up telling him that he would rather stay in prison until they have a better plan of an escape, because there's no point in leaving prison and going back to the house when they could just very easily come get him again, which I have to say is very smart. Now we are with Jace and Clary, and they are at the old Wayland Manor looking for this book that Clary needs, and they end up finding something else as well. They are looking for this book, and as they're looking in the library in the old Wayland house, they come across this underground cellar of sorts that Jace never knew existed in all of his time growing up in the Wayland Manor. And as they are exploring, much how I would assume the cave divers explore, they come across an angel. A full-blown angel. Flashback of kind of a flashback, a memory. I'm not sure how we really got this, but it's of how this angel came to be in the Wayland Manor, and it, of course, it has to do with Valentine and his shitty booty ass. So he basically locked up this angel and used his blood to experiment on Jace and Clary. You saw what I am. I'm part demon, Clary. Part demon. You understood that much, didn't you? You saw what Valentine was trying to do. He used demon blood. Used it on me before I was even born. I'm part monster. Part everything I've tried so hard to burn out, to destroy. Clary pushed away the memory of Valentine's voice, saying, "She told me I had turned her first child into a monster." But warlocks are part demon. Like Magnus, it doesn't make them evil. Not part greater demon. You heard what that demon woman said. It will burn out his humanity. A poison burns the life from the blood. So we find out that Valentine was experimenting on his little unborn kids and was using demon blood to create the ultimate shadow hunter. That is why Jace and Clary can do, well, Clary's is angel blood, Jace's is demon blood, but that is why they have these extraordinary abilities. That's why Clary can create new runes and draw old runes, and Jace is whatever the hell Jace does. That's that. Flashing forward, because it's just a lot of filler that happens kind of in between. Something goes down. They kind of have to evacuate the city. There's like someone crawling on the demon towers ends up breaking the barrier around the city. And Jace and Clary are gone, doing their thing at the Wayland Manor. So it is just Alec, Sebastian, Max, and Isabel at the house. Oh, yes. So immediately after the barrier gets down, guess what happens? Demons start to infiltrate the city. So Alex starts to fight the demons, and he tells Isabel, like, get Max out of here, because Max is 9. He ends up kind of like leaving, like he's trying to draw the demons away. So now it is just Sebastian, Max, and Isabel. And Isabel goes upstairs to grab her weapons and comes back down to Max. Now, where do we found? Complete darkness in the house. Cannot see a thing. Yelling out, Max, Max, Sebastian, Sebastian. And they're like, oh, we're in the kitchen. And it's Sebastian's voice. And Sebastian out of nowhere just goes, Isabel, I'm sorry. Sebastian, you're acting weird. Stop it. I'm sorry, it's you, he said. See, out of all of them, I liked you the best. Sebastian, out of all of them, I thought you were most like me. He brought his fist down, then with the hammer in it. So, we are left on that cliffhanger of what the hell happened to Isabel and potentially Max. We are quickly veered from there to Alex POV as he is running kind of to the town hall where everybody's at. He just killed a whole bunch of demons. He's looking for his family. He ends up coming across Magnus, and they've had their thing going on, a situationship, I would call it. And as they are literally about to like go into an all-out battle, Alec tells Magnus, "You never called me back. I called you so many times and you never called me back." Magnus looked at Alec as if he'd lost his mind. "Your city is under attack. The wards have broken and the streets are full of demons, and you want to know why I haven't called you?" I thought that was funny. And then we get into a really serious moment, and "I didn't call you because I'm tired of you only wanting me around when you need something. I'm tired of you wanting to be in love with someone else. Someone, incidentally, who will never love you back. Not the way I do. You love me? You stupid Nephilim. Why else am I here? Why else would I have spent the past few weeks patching up all your moronic friends every time they got hurt?" I love that little love confession from them, because I need them to be endgame. I need Alec and Magnus to be freaking endgame. So now we are kind of at the moment of the city is about to be under attack, and Luke shows up with Maya and all the New York werewolves and all of the Alicante werewolves. They go to the guard to save Simon because he's in there and it's on fire. So as they're there, they save Simon. They pull him out. And Simon asks to pull out the other guy who was there with him. I don't remember what they ended up calling him. But he's like, "We gotta save him. Like, he can't die in here. He needs to, live a life." And this guy is adamant. He's like, "I'm fine. I'm fine in here. Trust me. Trust me, I'm good. No, I'm good." So Alec and Jace pull him out. And you'll never guess who it is. Hodge. Yeah, baby. It's Hodge. They pull out Hodge. So they save him. And they're like, "We have so many questions for you. What the hell?" And he starts giving the lowdown because he was working with Valentine up until book 1, when they thought he died. So he starts giving all the tea on everything that Valentine was doing. And in the middle of him speaking, I think an arrow goes through his head, but he died. Like, someone kills him. And it's Sebastian. And he starts saying, like, I had no choice. He's a traitor, like a traitor to the Clave. And then he starts accusing Clary of being a traitor because of the book that she gave to Magnus, and he's calling him a filthy downworlder, and how dare you? That's a thing a traitor would do. And everybody's kind of looking at him sideways, like, there was no need for you to do this. Literally, what the hell is your problem? Sebastian ends up killing Hodge, calling everybody a traitor. He's going left, right, front, center. He's losing it. And he goes to attack somebody again, and they end up hurting him, and he gets away, basically. And they go back and they, report everything that happened, and they come to find out Max no longer with us. The 9-year-old Sebastian killed him. Sebastian got him. Isabel survived. So everybody is devastated. Of course, it's a 9-year-old kid. And Aline ends up sending a message to her aunt, because Sebastian was her cousin. And come to find out, Sebastian ain't really Sebastian. Whoever this is, it's not Sebastian. So she wants to go tell the Lightwood so that way they don't hate her and her family forever. But now leaves the question of who the fuck is Sebastian. Okay, so we have no idea who this Sebastian kid is. We just know it's not actually Sebastian. We're gonna keep calling him Sebastian because we don't know him by anything else. It's like the night before the battle. Everybody's waiting. Everybody's resting. And Jace sneaks into Amatis's house where Clary is at and asks to sleep with her. Not like in that way, but he's like, "Hey, if we're gonna die tomorrow, I want to sleep next to you at least once. At least one time." So they sleep next to each other. It's a little weird. We get like a love confession. We get a love confession, even though it's like Jace still thinks he's this big monster because of the demon blood that's in him, and it's this weird, like, I'll always love you even though you think I'm a monster. It's so early 2000s, and I love it and I hate it all at the same time. So the next morning, or the next day, or whatever freaking day it is, they're just chilling, and into the living room / kitchen walks Jocelyn. She is out of her coma of sorts, and rather than being happy her mom is back, because that's what literally this entire series has damn near been about, is getting her mom back, Clary's pissed. Clary literally starts yelling at her mom. And I think it is the stupidest shit possible, because, babe, you went through all of this to save your mom and now you're mad that she's back. Okay, drama, get it together. Anyways, in the midst of all this, Jace has had a conversation with Luke and basically said, I'm going to try and find Sebastian. Don't follow me, don't tell anybody where I'm going. Give this letter to Clary. Don't follow me. I'll be back. Maybe. Or I'm gonna die. So when that's happening, Clary and her mom Jocelyn are finally having the heart-to-heart that they need, because Jocelyn deliberately kept all of the Shadowhunter information from Clary for a good 15 years of her life. And Clary's asking her mom why, and why did she hide it? Why did she hide me from it? What's so bad about it? And we get this devastating story from Jocelyn about how her and Valentine got married when they were 18, and it was young love, and she was pushed into all these things by the traditionalists, like traditional ideas of Shadowhunters, and then slowly Valentine started going off the rocker, and truly just this gut-wrenching story of love, like young love, to being so afraid of your husband and what he's doing, and dang near government overthrow that he's planning. And then we get to talking about what happened with Jonathan, and everything that happened with the demon blood and all of that. And we get so Jocelyn didn't know really what was happening when Valentine was experimenting on his unborn children, specifically Jonathan. And she says that when Jonathan was born, he was born with pitch black eyes, and she knew in her heart that she could never love this kid, because in a sense he is not hers. He is this demonic creature, and Shadowhunters are raised to be against anything demonic. And it was really this battle of, this is my kid and I can never love him because of what he is. Truly a gut-wrenching story, and I hope it gave Clary some insight to her mother, because the way she was yelling at that poor woman when she finally came back, horrific. We cut to Jace, who has been hunting down and following Sebastian, and he ended up finding him. And Jace stumbles upon Sebastian and ends up seeing him with Valentine, and he's really confused by this. He knew he was working for Valentine, but he's like, okay, whatever. Weird. However, it gets even weirder when Valentine then calls Sebastian Jonathan, because as we know, that's Jace. So Valentine ends up leaving. Sebastian stayed behind too. And this is when we get the confrontation of Jace and Sebastian, because Jace, I guess, was not very good at hiding, or Sebastian has like supersonic hearing. And he confronts him and he's like, I know you're there, brother. Come on out, dog. And this is where we discover that everything that we have been told up until now has been a lie. We have been thinking for about a solid 500 pages, maybe 430, that Jace is Jonathan and that Jonathan / Jace and Clary are brother and sister, and that's why they could never be. And Jace has this demonic blood in him, and that's why everything is the way that it is. Okay, come to find out, Sebastian is actually Jonathan with the demon blood. He is Clary's brother. Jace is actually just this random kid from one of the couples that were in the circle that Valentine was also experimenting on, but with the angel blood. And he turns out actually just has no relation to Claire at all. So they can be together and everything's fine. But, yeah. So everything that we thought we knew is just incorrect. They kill Sebastian / Jonathan in revenge for everything that happened to Max, because obviously he died and he was a 9-year-old. So they give that revenge. And, kind of just to end him, because it's Jonathan / Sebastian / part demon shadow hunter / Valentine's son, whatever. He needed to die, so they do it. And then we kind of cut to the overarching battle, and we just get bits of, like, Luke fighting, and Maya fighting, and Jocelyn fighting, and Magnus and Alec teaming together, and almost montagey, I would say. And then we have Clary and Jace and Valentine at Lake Lynn, because Valentine's entire plan has been to call upon the angel who created Shadowhunters, ask him to create more, and I think like a wish or something, like his wish was to eradicate all humans and have solely Shadowhunters. So he ends up doing that. However, the angel, I think it's Asriel. Don't quote me on that one. Refuses to help Valentine, because if we remember that angel that we talked about earlier, Ithuriel, that's his brother. So Valentine had captured his brother and then somehow expected the man to, like, grant his wish. So, of course, he said no. And then Valentine dies. I think it's from Jace, if not from a combo of Jace and the angel, because, again, Valentine literally kidnapped his brother for years and it still expected this man to grant his wish. Are you thick? Anyways, in this happening, Jace dies. But due to the angel blood and whatever stars aligned for Clary in her life, she is able to ask a favor, ask a wish, whatever you want to call it, from the angel, and asks for Jace to be resurrected and to live. And that's kind of where we end. Jace has been resurrected from death. Valentine is dead. Jonathan is supposedly dead. I don't know how much I believe that because of the demon blood. Alicante / the Clave is changing for the better, because now Downworlders and Shadowhunters are working together. Jace and Clary can be together if they really so choose, because they love each other, but I don't even know if I want them to be together. I'm honestly kind of ride or die for Simon. I know I've probably missed a whole bunch, but we're already at an hour and 11 minutes. so I really rather not make this a two-parter. But yeah, that's where we end off for City of Glass. I'm currently reading City of Fallen Angels, which is the next one. So look out for a video on that one. I don't think this has been my favorite book from the series so far. Obviously, we'll still see. I think the first one still hits for me as my number one just because of the nostalgia that I have for it from the movie and everything. But I am slowly losing interest in Clary and Jace. But thank you so much for watching this video. I'm so sorry for my ramble. Let me know how you like our audio, by the way. We have a mic, and this is the best way I could think to hold it. But we have a mic now, so I hope the audio is better. And again, I'm so sorry for how long this video is. I hope you enjoy. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah.